Wind moves over open ground. Nothing else does. A man kneels beside a body that is not moving and will never move again. He does not know what to do with his hands. He has never needed to know this before. No one has. Nearby, a bird scratches at the earth. Once, twice, as if it is trying to teach him something. This is not the beginning of the story. It is the end of it. Somewhere behind this moment is a garden, a promise, a voice that whispered when it should have been silent, and a family that did not yet know what death was. To understand how a man could end up here, kneeling over his own brother, we have to go back further than this field, further than this family. We have to go back before the earth existed at all. There is no date for what you are about to see. No year, no century carved into any reliable record. The Quran does not give one. The most trusted sayings of the Prophet Muhammad do not give one either. That is not a gap in the story. It is the story being honest with you before it begins. What we do have is this: the Quran's own account, told across more than a dozen chapters, and a small number of sayings verified by the strictest science in Islamic tradition. The science of hadith. Everything you are about to hear is drawn from those two places. Where something is uncertain, you will be told it is uncertain. Where scholars disagree, you will hear both sides. Nothing here has been invented to make the story easier to tell. Before there was a single human being, there was a decision. Not a debate, not a doubt. A decision already made that something new was coming. A being who would walk on the earth and answer for it. The Quran calls this being a Khalifa, a trustee. Someone who inherits responsibility, not just a place to stand. The angels heard this decision before it happened, and they asked a question. Will you place upon it one who will cause corruption and shed blood, while we glorify you with praise? It is a striking thing that the very first response to humanity's creation was a question about violence, asked before a single person existed to commit any. The Quran does not fully explain why the angels asked this. Scholars have offered different answers for centuries, and none of them have ever been treated as final. What the Quran does record is the answer they were given. Indeed, I know that which you do not know. That line is left to sit exactly there, unresolved, for the entire rest of the story. Keep it in mind. It will not be answered outright. It will simply be lived out. Something is formed from clay, not born, shaped, deliberately, the way nothing before it had been. And then, in a detail the Quran repeats more than once, breath enters it. Not ordinary breath. A breath the Quran describes as coming from Allah's own spirit. This is Adam. He is given something no one else in that unseen realm has ever been given. Knowledge. Not power, not wings, not fire. Names. The names of things. All of them. Placed into him the way nothing had been placed into any angel before. When the angels are asked to name what they know, they cannot. They only know what they were taught. Adam can answer, because he was given more. It is easy to miss how strange this moment actually is. The angels are not lesser beings. They do not disobey, and they do not tire of worship. And yet here, for the first time, something new outranks them. Not in power, but in understanding. So a command is given: bow to him. Every single one of them does, instantly, completely, without hesitation, except one. One figure remains upright while everything else around it lowers itself to the ground. No explanation yet. Just the stillness of one refusal in the middle of total submission, a single shape that will not move, surrounded by a field of beings who already have. Here is something worth correcting immediately, because so many retellings of this story get it wrong. The one who refuses is not a fallen angel. The Quran is direct about this. He is Iblis, and Iblis is jinn, a different kind of creation entirely, made from fire, who had simply been present among the angels, worshipping alongside them, until this moment revealed what he actually was. He is asked plainly why he did not bow. I am better than him, he says. You created me from fire, and you created him from clay. It is pride, stated as if it were simply fact, and it costs him everything. He is cast out, cursed, and told his punishment will not arrive immediately. It is deferred until a day still to come. He asks for one thing before he goes: time. Time to prove his point. Time to reach every one of Adam's descendants, from every direction he can find, in front of them, behind them, from their right, from their left, misleading all but the few who remain sincere. He is given that time, which means somewhere, from this exact moment forward, he is still out there. Every scene that follows happens with that fact already true. Adam is not left to face any of that alone. He is given a companion, and together they are placed somewhere that lacks for nothing. No hunger there, no thirst, no exposure to heat, no need for shelter that isn't already provided. It is, as the Quran describes it, a life with only one boundary in it. One tree, named only as the tree, never given a specific identity in the text. Everything else is open to them. One rule, and a warning that comes with it, spoken plainly, before anything goes wrong. The being who just refused to bow is an enemy to both of them. They are told this clearly, not hidden from them, not left to discover it the hard way. And for a while, none of it matters, because there is nothing here that asks to be resisted. Paradise, as it's described, isn't a temptation waiting to happen. It's completeness. It is the version of this story where nothing has gone wrong yet. Worth sitting inside for a moment, because everything that follows will be measured against how much this is about to be lost. Somewhere in that completeness, a whisper begins. Not an attack, not a threat. Something quieter and far more dangerous. A voice offering what sounds like help. Shall I show you the tree of eternity, it says, and a kingdom that never fades? And elsewhere, the same voice swears something that should never have been believed. I am one of your sincere advisors. An oath, from the one being they had already been warned about. This is worth pausing on, because it is easy to imagine temptation as something loud, a monster, a threat, a moment of obvious danger. It is not that here. It is intimacy misused, a whisper close enough to sound like friendship. They eat, and the change that follows is not external. Nothing around them shifts. What changes is what they can suddenly see about themselves, an awareness that wasn't there a moment before. The Quran describes them immediately reaching for leaves, trying to cover what has just become visible to them for the first time. Hold that image for a moment, because it will return. Much later in this story, in a very different setting, someone else is going to stand over something they cannot undo either, not knowing, in that instant, what to do with what has just happened. This is the first time that feeling enters the human story. It will not be the last. What happens next is, in its own way, the most important moment in the entire episode. They do not defend themselves. They do not blame the whisper or each other. They say one thing, together, and the Quran preserves the exact words. Our Lord, we have wronged ourselves, and if you do not forgive us and have mercy upon us, we will surely be among the losers. That's it. No excuse, just an admission, spoken honestly to the only one who could do anything about it. And it is accepted, completely. The Quran says plainly that Allah chose Adam after this, chose him rather than abandoning him, and accepted his repentance and guided him. This detail matters more than it might seem to, because so much of how this story gets retold elsewhere treats this moment as a permanent stain, something passed down, generation after generation, so that every child since is somehow born already guilty of it. That is not what happens here. The mistake is real. So is the forgiveness. And the forgiveness is not partial. What comes next is not punishment so much as transition. Adam, his companion, and the one who had refused to bow are all told to descend down to the earth, with a warning that enmity now exists between humanity and the one who deceived them. A place of dwelling and provision, and, for the first time, a life that will end in death, followed by a promise of return. The wind that will one day cross that open field where this story began, that wind starts here. Time moves forward. The Quran does not narrate the years between the descent and what comes next, but it gives us the outcome of them. 2 sons. There is no record of conflict between them at first, only the ordinary shape of 2 brothers raised in the same household, under the same guidance, each shown the same difference between right and wrong. One tends flocks, one works the land. Nothing about their upbringing marks either of them for what is coming. Somewhere in the fields where one of them keeps his animals, a bird occasionally passes low over the ground. Unremarkable. The kind of thing no one thinks twice about. It will matter later. Not yet. Each of the 2 brothers is asked, at some point, to offer something in sacrifice, an act of devotion, not competition. But an outcome follows that only one of them can accept easily. One offering is received, the other is not. The Quran does not dwell on spectacle here, and neither should we. The point is not the mechanism of acceptance, but what it does to the brother left standing empty-handed. I will kill you, he tells his brother. And the brother who is about to lose his life gives the last words we have from him in this story. Not a threat in return, but something closer to sorrow. Allah accepts only from those who are mindful of him. And then, almost gently, if you raise your hand to kill me, I will not raise mine against you. I fear Allah, the Lord of all worlds. It does not stop what is coming. The Quran says only this. His own soul made it easy for him to kill his brother, so he killed him, and in doing so, he became one of the losers. There is no ceremony in that sentence, no music underneath it in the way this scene might otherwise be told. Just a decision, and then a body, and a man who has just done something no human being has ever done before, standing over the consequence of it with absolutely no idea what comes next. He does not know how to bury the dead. No one does. Death has never happened before this moment. A crow, the same kind of bird that passed unnoticed over these fields earlier, begins scratching at the ground nearby, searching for something to hide. And in watching it, the brother finally understands what he is supposed to do. How could I not even be able to do what this crow has done, he says, and hide my own brother's body? He becomes, the Quran tells us, one of the regretful. No words follow that. Only the wind and the sound of digging, and a field that will carry this memory long after everyone standing in it is gone. There is a question sitting underneath everything that has just happened, one this episode has been circling since its opening image. Was any of this Adam's fault? Does a mistake made once, in a garden, explain a killing that happens generations later, in a field? There is an authentic answer to this, preserved in one of the most carefully verified hadiths in Islamic tradition. A report of an exchange between Adam and the prophet Musa, standing before Allah. Musa, in this account, holds Adam responsible. It was Adam's error, he says, that led humanity out of paradise in the first place. And Adam's response is not defensive. It is something closer to clarity. He does not deny what happened. He asks Musa something instead, whether he blames him for something that Allah had already written into his fate before he had even been created. The prophet, narrating this exchange, said that Adam prevailed in that argument. It is not an excuse for what either man did. It is a reminder of something this whole episode has quietly been building toward. That human failure and divine mercy have always existed together from the very first mistake onward, and that no one carries a debt that was already forgiven. Picture, one more time, where this story began. A man kneeling over a body that will not move again. A bird scratching at the ground beside him, teaching him something no one had ever needed to know before. That man is not a villain in some distant legend. He is someone's son. He is a brother. He is, in the end, simply a person who let envy become something he could not take back. And the man who forgave generations earlier, in a garden neither of his sons ever saw, he is not a distant, perfect figure either. He is someone who made a mistake, admitted it plainly, and was met with mercy he did not have to earn twice. Both of these men came from the same beginning. Both are part of the same story. Maybe that is the point worth sitting with long after this episode ends. Not that one man fell and one man failed, but that every person carries both of them inside, somewhere. The capacity to be forgiven, and the capacity to let something smaller than we are, envy, pride, a whisper we should have ignored, decide who we become. The wind is still moving over that same open ground. It always has been.